So we are at the back of it, the big questions we are asking this evening. Congress's charges justified or frivolous? Should the government clear the air? Political consensus on Operation Sindoor or clearly over? That's not even a question anymore. But let's take all these questions to our political panelists this evening. Joining me, Sanjay Jha, political analyst, Ratan Sharda, author and analyst, Syed Zafar Islam, national spokesperson, BJP. And we're also joined by Mahima Singh, national spokesperson, Congress. Mahima Singh, why so much skepticism about Operation Sindoor and the government's intent?
Jai Hind, is it uncalled for, Preeti? Is the skepticism uncalled for when we are being mocked on Pakistan, across Pakistani media today? You see, when Rahul Gandhi ji's statements were being played by them earlier, the BJP was creating a halabaloo and a big one at that. Today, Mr. Jaishankar's statements are being played out across Pakistani media, and it's been mocked at. And you see, they are mocking at how our external affairs minister has actually confessed in a very naive manner, saying that at the very start of the operation, Pakistan was informed. Now, Honorable LOP is asking a very relevant question, that when they were informed at the very start of the operation, did we lose any air jets, any army, equipment to that? And the government must come clean on it. We have heard the DGMO, but we have also heard the External Affairs Minister. And today, while briefing the media, Pawan Kheda ji has made it abundantly clear, Preeti, when he elucidated on the BJP's rather malicious history, right from Morarji Desai to Dhruv Saxena to Pradeep Kurulkar. So, we have a straight question today. Why did Morarji Desai accept the Nishane Park? Why did he accept to be decorated with the Nishane Park if their history was so clean? We know about the case that he lost to a American journalist back then. Why is the BJP not refuting the frivolous claims by Trump every day in, day out? Mr. Trump is going out and making those claims. Why doesn't the BJP refute it straight and clear?
The foreign secretary just did, there was a press conference, Mahima Singh, in which very clearly the Ministry of External spokesperson came out and said that there was no foreign intervention. 3 times the Ministry of External Affairs has made it very clear that it wasn't the President of America who intervened and called for ceasefire, number one. Even as far back as 1 hour ago, your own representative in the parliamentary committee would know that the foreign secretary himself has come out and stated that it wasn't America that intervened. So it's been communicated. It's not that it hasn't been communicated.
We did hear that, but that's not stopping the president of the US. And I believe that the good friend of Mr. Modi is only going on tarnishing India's image by saying that he trade blackmailed India. You see, they're talking about nuclear blackmail, but US says that they blackmailed us. Why?
All right, I want to bring in Syed Zafar Islam, and I want to hark back to the statement which Rahul Gandhi picked up. Of course, the government has fact-checked that. The Foreign Secretary, just a short while ago, in the parliamentary committee meet, has elucidated very clearly that that Pakistan was in fact only informed post phase 1 of the operation. But Dr. Islam, the question I want to really ask you is that in diplomacy, every word needs to be measured before it is stated or elucidated. And I will take you through the statement of External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, where he says, we had sent a message to Pakistan saying we are striking at terrorist infrastructure and not military, and the military has an option to stand out and not interfere. One would seem to suggest, Dr. Islam, that this is open to interpretation. And that's exactly what LOP did, because it seems to suggest that Pakistan was forewarned of the attack. And that's exactly what Rahul Gandhi seemed to interpret it as. In diplomacy, you leave no room for interpretation.
I think that has been put to rest by the Foreign Secretary, because in today's meeting, once again, it has been clarified that the first attack was made, and then, of course, the information was shared. So it is very unfair on the part of Rahul Gandhi ji to make this kind of statement and demoralize the morale of our armed forces. This is very, very unfair. I mean, it only shows that how immature statement coming from Congress party and its leader, particularly the LOP, because this is something which you could have asked not in public, but in private. And since he asked publicly, it has been refuted time and again and has been clarified by our own foreign secretary, who was doing the press conference all along. Having said that, I just heard the Congress spokesperson. She was talking about Trump's statement. I think everyone knows Trump speaks whatever he feels like speaking, but it has been clarified time and again, not once,
True.
many times. He wanted us to clear the air. We have clarified that no such intervention was made by Trump. If it is Trump who has to really understand that why he's making his own trumpet when everyone is refuting his claim. We, as a country, has refuted his claim that no such intervention was made by Mr. Trump, and Trump is making a statement on his own. And finally, he had to say that no, our intervention was not there. He clarified that once, that we have not made any. I personally have not intervened.
You know, Dr. Islam, you're right with what you're saying, but the fact is, and that was what my question is before I bring in our two other guests, and I'll reiterate that in diplomacy, if a country needs to clarify, and that's what we've been doing, especially in terms of did we forewarn Pakistan or not, and we fact-checked the LOP, and now the Foreign Secretary has said the same, that we only told Pakistan after phase 1. But if a country has to clarify repeatedly, that in diplomacy is a failure. That's a back foot, Dr. Islam, and you know that.
No. I think you have to understand, Preeti ji, since the ill-informed, immature, many opposition leaders are in such situation making this kind of a statement when we know that the government of the day has clarified that no such intervention publicly, not in private, publicly, no such intervention. Even if Mr. Trump is making this statement, you should trust your government, or you should trust a spokesperson.
But Dr. Islam, I'll circle back to you because...
Who has the habit? No, just a second. Who has the habit of... No, I'm saying that you have to trust your own government. Or would you like to trust Mr. Trump, who is known to make this kind of a statement, and not once. He makes a statement, this kind of a statement time and again in every issue. Today, you see Ukraine and Russia. He had invited Ukraine president, and finally he threw him out of the White House without even had dinner. But still, today he's talking to them, Dr.
Islam, nobody's talking about the American president here. You know, what I was really speaking of was the statement made by the Foreign Affairs Minister. Because I'll read it again and we'll go across to our other two panelists and I'll circle back to you. We had sent a message to Pakistan saying we are striking at terrorist infrastructure and not military, and the military has an option to stand out. So it's open to interpretation. In diplomacy, nothing should be open to interpretation. I'll come back to you.
Just a second. Even if it is open to interpretation, but clarity has to come from the government of the day. The Foreign Secretary has clarified, and it should.
Fair point, sir. I'll circle back to you. You're making a point. It's a fair point that you're making. But my humble submission is that in diplomacy there should be nothing that should be open to interpretation. Every word needs to be very measured that goes out, that there is absolutely zero interpretation of it. But I'll bring in Sanjay Jha into this conversation. Sanjay Jha, the kind of language that all the commentary coming in from the Congress, and I'll quote Rahul Gandhi, this wasn't a lapse, it was a crime and the nation deserves this truth. I will ask again, how many Indian aircrafts did we lose because of Pakistan? It's damning what the Foreign Affairs Minister says. The fact is, Sanjay Jha, when you make statements like this, you might be intending to hold the government accountable. But is this a unified front against terrorism? I guess not.
Preeti, I think it is, and I'll tell you why. We have had a horrific tragedy in Pahalgam. Operation Sindoor happened, and I think the entire opposition has conducted itself, led by the Congress, in a very exemplary manner by supporting the government unanimously. And I think that showed a spirit of a country that is politically contesting, but it put national security and territorial sovereignty of India right in the front. I think that's a very important perspective. Now let's look at what Rahul Gandhi is really questioning the BJP for, or rather the government for. If you read, and I'm glad you played it out, Dr. Jaishankar's statement is not subject to interpretation. It is unambiguous and explicit. It is a statement that, frankly speaking, is beyond debate, where he says that I informed his counterparts in Pakistan that India will attack the terrorist infrastructure and will not attack their military installations. And he advised them, and they did not heed to his request. What do you expect Rahul Gandhi or anybody from the opposition to do? Syed is a very dear friend of mine. And Syed, I'm telling you this straight on India Today show. If the Congress was in government and the Congress had committed this faux pas, because I think what Dr. Jaishankar has said appears to be factually the case, because if you see his body language, it seems to be the sequence of events that really transpired. I would have expected you today on this show to roast the Congress spokesperson, and if I'm supporting it, me alive. That's exactly what we should have, the kind of very mature conversation. Here is my point, Preeti. This is critical here. Because if you look at the BJP's response, I keep saying BJP, but they're really the government. Mr. Trump announces the ceasefire. Mr. Trump talks about Kashmir becoming an international issue to be mediated on. Mr. Trump goes ahead and talks about a broad range of issues to be discussed at a neutral site. By the way, he doesn't talk about it himself. He talks about Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, all of them being on the hotlines all through the night. Clearly, these denials never came from the government till a few days ago, when clearly the media and the people of India questioned this third-party intervention. This is a damage control by the BJP, and they're not being convincing whatsoever. So
I want to bring in...
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Allow me to bring in Ratan Sharda into this conversation, because Ratan Sharda, what the Congress is now doing is taking a leave. Sir, okay, take your 10 seconds. Yes, go ahead.
Briefly, I just want to respond to Sanjay Jha. He's a very dear friend, but let me also make it very, very clear that Sanjay Jha ji, we have never entertained any third party when it comes to Kashmir or for any mediation. And we have not made exception even this time. We will never make the exception, and we will never accept any third party. So if somebody is claiming, whether it's Mr. Trump or for that matter, anybody in the world, it's a blatant lie. And it is for Trump to realize why he is making such a statement which is factually incorrect.
But Dr. Islam, even with the Congress, it's a question that really beckons to be answered. This entire thing that is made about third-party intervention. In 1965, you had third-party intervention. Kargil, you had third-party intervention. Third-party intervention has been there. In what capacity is the question?
We are not keeping quiet. We are making it clear time and again that his claim is wrong, is factually incorrect.
Okay. Allow me to bring in Ratan Sharda, because Ratan Sharda, what the Congress is really doing is taking a leaf out of the BJP playbook. Now, they are comparing and drawing parallels between the External Affairs Minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar, and actions of Morarji Desai. I just want to tell our viewers, Morarji Desai was made the Prime Minister by the Janata Party and the Jan Sangh, which is now the BJP. And they are saying Morarji Desai did exactly that, what S. Jaishankar is doing. So they are harking back on legacy, something which has been part of the BJP's playbook, attacking Congress, especially with its 55 years history.
First of all, Preeti, let me tell you, there was no consensus. It was a consensus imposed by the people of India, who are totally supporting the war on terror by the government of India. And that is the reason Congress had to keep quiet, because even during the war, there are some Congress leaders who are doubting the very nature of the attack on Pakistan. They doubted whether actually somebody died or not. They actually said whether there was any attack, whether there is harm to Pakistan or not. So this consensus is very artificial, made out of public pressure, not because they believed in it. Secondly, these people have more faith in Pakistan. They have more faith in Trump. They have more faith in whatever other people do, but not with the government of India. I will grant, okay, there is slip of tongue by a diplomat, which is not pardonable, but there are people who clarified the statement from the government. On one side, you say army is reliable. When army says, this is what he said, now you say, no, you didn't say that. So he'll keep on harping on the same thing, which has been responded time and again. That's not the way it is. Ask, what about Trump? Has Trump any stability of what he does? He has got two highly suspect jihadis into his government now. He has tied up with Turkey, with whom they had a continuous fight. So whom do you believe? Congress has an office in Turkey where there are hardly 300 to 500 Indians in Turkey. Why do you have an office there? Should I raise that? If you go back to what about, remember when Indira ji won in 1971, we all respected, we all lauded her despite her losing Kashmir debate on that particular tie-up. She refused to talk about 54 prisoners of war who were lost to eternity, not knowing where they are. She removed OROP. She stopped pension of Manekshaw. Where do we go?
Okay,
We should do that.
okay, I'm going to come right back to it. But really, it's not about, America here. Leave the third party aside. It's more about the interpretation of what the external affairs ministers say. And in times of war and conflict, every word needs to be measured. We should have been more careful. That's it. There should be no room for interpretation. There should be zero room for interpretation in diplomatic statements. Sorry, sir?
From a molehill, we are creating a hill out of it. You don't want to speak
Sir,
about
no. Come on.
defense
okay,
of the
fine.
people.
You might think so. You're entitled to your opinion. I want to take in one minute from each one of you for your closing comments. I want to bring in Mahima Singh into this conversation, and then I'll go to Dr. Syed Zafar Islam. Mahima Singh, let's turn this around into the other conflict, which is the kind of offense that the Congress has taken of the Bharatiya or the government picking party members, from the Congress as part of a delegation which is supposed to be our diplomatic offensive abroad, and not, wanting certain members, only wanting certain members. What's the big deal?
Preeti, before I answer your immediate question, I was raising my hand for a very long time, when Mr. Islam was speaking, and I requested that
And
you
30
allow
seconds you have. Make your point.
So you see, the BJP spokesperson clearly made a point that the external affairs minister is inefficient, incapable of doing his job that he is meant to do. He failed to lobby with the world stakeholders at the IMF meeting. He has failed to make a flawless statement when it came to Operation Sindoor, and he's clearly flawed, and we are paying for his flaws. And you see, I tell you what petty politics is. You're asking me the question about why do we take offense, but just before that, let me show you this ticket. This is a railway ticket, a recent railway ticket, and what we see is Mr. Modi's photo with Operation Sindoor. The BJP goes on politicizing, and then RSS person on your show.
Mahima Singh, I've run out of time, but I can counter ask you a question about Dr. Shashi Tharoor on why he was kept out of the Congress, because just he had words of praise for the Prime Minister and the current Operation Sindoor, which the Congress seems to criticize. So, it's none the richer. Let's not get into something that we can turn around and question. 1 minute, Dr. Syed. Ma'am, I have no time.
Complete my point, please.
I apologize. I have no time. I want to bring in Dr. Syed Zafar Islam into this conversation. You have 1 minute, sir. You wanted to interject earlier, but the larger message that goes out in times like this cannot be open to interpretation at the cost of repeating myself.
No, I completely agree with you that there should not be any headroom for interpretation, and I completely agree. But when the government of the day has already clarified, when the ministry, when the foreign secretary has clarified, and the armed forces have clarified, DGMO has clarified, then such speculation should be put to rest, and no further question needs to be asked. Had we kept quiet and not clarified, then perhaps you had the opportunity to ask us. You have put the reason to put us in the dock. But since we are the Ministry of External Affairs and the Foreign Secretary has clarified, then you should put to bed such nonsense, because it is only damaging India's reputation and the reputation of the armed forces.
All right. I want to, 1 minute. Ma'am, I've run out of time. I just want to bring in Sanjay Jha and Ratan Sharda for 1 minute each. Sanjay Jha, closing comments, sir. 1 minute.
Yeah. I am just finding it very laughable that the BJP today is attacking Donald Trump. Mr. Modi campaigned saying, "Ab ki baar Trump sarkar." And here is the fundamental point. If Donald Trump has made allegations of interference, taking Kashmir international, talking about India doing a trade deal for the ceasefire, then who should repudiate what Donald Trump has done? Mr. Modi himself. He's the counterpart. He's the prime minister of our country. In his prime minister's speech to the nation, there is no mention, there is no contradiction of anything that Trump has said. I think we have just come across as extremely poor in handling India's reputation, in managing our information warfare. And I think we have only made ourselves look vulnerable and susceptible because this government is...
1 minute, Ratan Sharda, sir.
The Indian armed forces are heroes, the government is not.
Okay. All right. 1 minute, Ratan Sharda, closing comments.
I would just say that there are no permanent friends and enemies in the international politics, right, Mr. Jha? Now, coming more, see, Congress is behaving in a double-faced manner. On one side, there are people in the delegation. Other side, they are sniping at the BJP in the public forum. And one of the best international faces of Congress, Shashi Tharoor, is leading the delegation, but they are trying to destroy his reputation, trying to attack him. So while you remember 1994, when Vajpayee led the delegation under P.V. Narasimha Rao's government, Can't they understand the grace of PV Narasimha's time and the confidence that they had? Now, same thing is when Modi, and you are burnt about it.
Okay.
That's a tragedy.
Well, those were those were different times with very different political graces. Ma'am, okay, yeah, you have 10. You have 10 seconds to respond. Go ahead. You've been wanting to come in on Shashi Tharoor. Go ahead, ma'am. 10 seconds, and I need to go into a break.
Thank me for that.
If the BJP and its ideologue were to decide the capabilities of Congress leaders, then let first Mr. Modi apologize, for the remarks he made for Mr. Tharoor and his wife, his late wife, and also it is the Congress's decision who should go, and if it is not,
ma'am, it seems to be fine with Mr. Tharoor, at least as of now. We're going to leave it at that.
Ask for nomination.
Allow me to leave it at that. I need to move on.
10 seconds. I also deserve 10 seconds.
Okay, sir, you also deserve 10 seconds. Just 10.
So all I'm trying to tell you that Congress party has a big bench strength. Quality people are there. When the name recommended by them does not meet the criteria where you are representing a country, and when likes of Shashi Tharoor, likes of Manish, then you should be
no, that's a different debate. I'm going to leave it at that. That's a different debate. Maybe we can debate it tomorrow.
Which is not
That's a different debate. Because if the Congress is suggesting certain names, the BJP can't cast aspersion and saying this name doesn't work and that name works. It's up to the party to send whichever representative that they want to send. You can question them, but you cannot get into why this or why not, or they should have sent this person. I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate all of you for joining us.